Dominic Saturday from SaturdayHitting.com. You're under the proof section of our website. Today we're going to talk about a couple important absolutes, we call them, of the rotational swing. We're going to talk about the hip cock, the bat path, the torque created in a rotational swing, that upward plane, and trying to keep the bat in the zone as long as possible. We're also going to talk a little bit about eliminating movement in the swing, and specifically by movement we mean movement of the head, the eyes. It's very hard to hit a pitch that's coming at you when you're moving towards that pitch. So eliminating movement at the pitch is what we're trying to do. We're trying to use rotational mechanics, very little movement in the head. The first thing though we're going to talk about is that hip cock. 1941, Ted Williams hit .406 in the major leagues, and he did so because he had this hip turn, this winding of the spring, so to speak. We turn back towards the catcher to go through the ball, to rotate through the ball. So you're going to see it right here. Watch her hips as she begins to swing. Right there, that movement from right here in her stance, in her set position. Watch the load, the hip turn that happens right there. Right? That move right there sets her up to hit the ball with power. One thing you're going to notice in this hip turn, this knee here, this front knee's bent. You're going to feel some pressure on the inside of this back foot. You're going to notice the front shoulder is lower than the back shoulder. The barrel of the bat above the head. The hips are turned back towards the catcher. You're going to see that there. She's in a loaded, stacked position. And what's going to happen now, as the pitch starts to move toward her and that foot plants down, you're going to see the move that generates so much torque in a rotational swing. And right here, you're going to notice something. She's still stacked. Barrel of the bat still above her head there. But she's starting, as she opens her hips here, she's starting to get the hands into the hitting zone, staying above that imaginary line, and you're going to see the bat start to move its way into the plane of the pitch. The hips start out facing the catcher, and we unwind like a spring right there in that move. You can see it. Such an important and powerful move. That's what sets us up to hit the ball with rotational power. Now, one of the things you're going to notice from right here, the hands, you're going to notice that the hands are moving on an upward path. Right here, the hands start moving up, and this is so important. She's working inside and moving on an upward path to match the plane of this pitch. The plane of the pitch is, this was a somewhat high pitch. Plane of the pitch is coming down towards the hitter, so we obviously want to swing on a path that matches that plane, slightly upward, all right, towards driving the ball to the outfield. That's our goal. We want to hit long fly balls. We want to hit hard line drives. We want to hit the ball with tons of power, and that's what we can do with rotational mechanics. So what you're going to see here is at contact, this is such an important position because every major leaguer, every successful college hitter, players who hit the ball long and far and hit the ball with power get to this position. So if I draw a line from her toe up to her head, you're going to notice one straight front axis. That straight axis right there sets us up to rotate and get a tremendous amount of power. The other thing you're going to notice, that front arm, that high front arm, bent elbow, and the bottom elbow is slotted into its position, palm up, palm down contact. We tend to see a lot of hitters that come to us that have a problem with this front arm. They like to get it locked in what we call an arm bar. They stretch it out across their body instead of creating some separation between the body and that arm and moving on an upward path. If you've got that front arm stuck to your ribs, stuck to your torso, chances are the bat's going to come down into the zone too steeply. It's going to miss a big part of the hitting zone, and that's very important. One of the most important things is getting that bat on the plane of the pitch for as long as possible to try and hit the ball with as much power as possible. So these moves right here, this move, and you can see the bat from right here, between this frame here and this frame here, there's no doubt that the bat is moving between these two lines on an upward plane. Now if I draw where the pitch is going, ball's right here, moving on a downward plane. Gravity takes over, the ball is moving down, and you're going to notice the bat's sliding up this line. From right here to right here, bat's continuing on that line, and you're going to notice, look at where the ball takes off. Ball takes off high, somewhere I would say between an angle 30 to 45 degrees. 45 degrees is the ultimate angle for any sort of projectile launch because it can travel the furthest distance. So if you launch a ball off the bat at that near 40 to 45 degree angle, it travels farther than a ball launched at, say, 10 degrees or a ball launched at, say, 80 degrees. We want to hit the ball on that ideal angle, that upward angle. So you're going to notice her hips are turned back. She starts moving through. Hands are working inside. Her hands are close to her the whole time. You're going to see that. Look at her hands right here in this frame. Barely any separation between her hands in this frame and her body. Not a whole lot going on there. She's just rotating with her hips. You're going to see the front leg snap. Hands are still close, still pretty close to her. And then at contact, still close. I wouldn't say they're way out away from her body. The other important thing that we wanted to talk about, that stillness, that eliminating movement in the head. So obviously, a lot of times we get players who want to load all their weight back laterally on this line, and then they want to do that weight shift method. There is no such thing as the weight shift. The weight shift, it's rotating. It's that hip turn back, that spring-like motion. We don't want to put all our weight back and then transfer all our weight forward, because then what happens is our head starts moving forward, our eyes start moving forward at a ball that's moving at us. We can't possibly hit a ball that's moving at us if we're moving at it. Makes it hard to perceive where that ball is going to stay in the hitting zone. So usually what we look at is after that foot plants down, right about at this frame here, we like to draw a circle on the head, whatever you want to call it, a line, circle. Doesn't matter. Draw a line, a circle, and you're going to see one thing. The head never moves from that circle. If there is any movement, it's slightly backward at maybe, I would say my best guess is probably 2 to 3 inches of movement back. But by the time her foot's on the ground from this frame right here throughout the entire swing, a lot of times we see players who drop elevation. That's not a good thing, because then the ball, you can't effectively judge the height of the ball. It could be anywhere from here to here, and dropping or going up makes it even tougher to judge the height of the ball. And oftentimes, like I already mentioned, we see players who move forward through that circle, which disrupts your perception of how that ball is moving down and in at you. So that's very important. That's very important to notice. Now, at contact, we want everyone to look nearly identical. All great hitters look like this at contact. All professional and successful collegiate hitters look like this at contact, because it is the most powerful position. The single most powerful position to hit any moving ball from is right here at this point. If her hands were moving down, she misses a big part of the hitting zone. She lacks the consistency and power, but instead, because she opens her hips, she cocks her hips back and opens them forward violently, and that move right there, the torque that's generated with the strong and the large muscles of the body, i.e. the hips, we're able to produce a much higher bat speed, and that results in the ball traveling further off the bat. So just a few things. We recap at contact. This is such an important position. Again, head to toe, we've got a straight front axis. That front arm's got separation. The back elbow is slotted. Again, we're swinging on an upward plane to match the opposite plane of the pitch. We want to hit the ball in the air. Hitting the ball on the ground does us no good. Baseball, softball, hitting the ball on the ground is an out. Hitting the ball in the air to the biggest part of the field, the outfield, there's only 3 players out there, is one way to be successful. To hit for average, hit for power. Send me an email, Dominic.Saturday@gmail.com. Appreciate hearing from you. Questions, comments. The other thing is, the only way you're going to be able to become a better hitter is to get a tremendous amount of repetitions with this swing. And I mean good repetitions. I mean 5,000 reps of a solid rotational swing, give you the muscle memory to hit with this swing in the game. We got all the resources here at our facility. Mainly, one of the greatest advancements in baseball is this software analysis, this video analysis. We can break down the swing frame by frame to diagnose what's wrong or what's right with a hitter's swing. And that's so important because the human eye, we can only see so much, so fast. The swing happens in such a minute amount of time, 0.5 of a second. We couldn't possibly see all of this information in that short of an amount of time. So video analysis is a big one. We've got all the tools and resources necessary. Visit the contact page, give us a call, send us an email, and keep visiting www.saturdayhitting.com.